Today we have to listen Karuṇā Bhāvanā. Buddha's Karuṇā. Makaruṇiko nato hitaya sabbapaninam puritva parami sabba bhatto sambodhi muttamam. The Buddha who is possessed of great compassion fulfilled all the perfections for the benefit of all beings and reached the highest state as the fully enlightened one. So Buddha surveyed the world and he saw beings. Asako loko sabbam bahaya gamaniyam. All beings have no personal properties of their own after everything is abandoned. One we have to pass away. In this way, seeing and realizing in as such towards all beings in the persons of Buddhas, great compassion occurs. It is to say that beings have no personal belongings or properties of their own. As is universally accepted, everyone has his own personal properties. The only difference being the magnitude of the property or wealth, which may be plenty or little. At least they own something in commensurate with their own status. For so long as destruction or loss has not yet been met, in the absence of any destructive elements as danger, the property will continue to remain in their hands. However, sampatti vipatti pariyosana, all accomplishment of properties meet with destruction in the end. All accomplishment in connection with worldly matters, such as property and wealth, will eventually be reduced to nothing, or rather terminate in entire destruction. This is quite true. Sickness, we finally overcome. Good health, youthfulness ends in aging, or in other words, sound and vigorous body grows old in the end. Though a person is fully accomplished with wealth, honor, or fame, nothing can be taken along with him on his death. Even endowment with a large number of retinue in whose company one once lived and enjoyed will eventually be deprived of. To live is to die in the end. Moreover, everything that is good and pleasurable from the mundane point of view will in the end be dispossessed or deprived of. This can be clearly known from the life history of the King Sri Dhammasoka. About 218 years after the pre-nibbana of the Buddha, that is about 270 BC, there came to the throne of India a famous king by the name of Asoka. It mentioned that his fame and glory has spread all over the continent of India, Jambudvipa, which was founded by him as an empire. When you go to pilgrimage, you may see some rocks and stone pillars. According to what is contained in these rocks and stone pillars, on which his edicts were carved and where writings were inscribed as directed by this great monarch. The country then called Jambudvipa is to be understood as the Indian continent as is known today. It is because in these rocks and pillar inscription, mention had been made of the places as the border of his vast empire, where his dynamic power was felt. In those days, it was considered to be a vast domain. King Sri Dhammasoka was one of the greatest of India's kings. According to the commentaries, King Asoka was said to be a powerful sovereign of a large empire, its area stretching even up to 1 yojana. Right up to the sky above. Although King Asoka was a benevolent dictator and an emperor with absolute powers, possessing immense treasures, at the time of his approaching death, only a small piece of vast domain remained under his control, and it was stated to have half of the size of the white plum fruit. So Visuddhimagga mentioned, Sakalam Medine Bodhva, Dattva Godis Satan Sukhi Adamalaka Matasa Ande Esradam Kato. That means extremely rich and well endowed with prosperity and immense wealth. A king by the name of Asoka have ruled and owned the entire earth's surface of Jabudvipa. And after giving away his charity, numerous properties, and all his wealth worth billions, at last, only about half the size of a stony plum fruit had remained in his dominion and had gone down, or rather lost his eminent position to that extent. So the gist of it is that fabulously rich and powerful King Asoka, who had dominated over the whole continent of India, after offering all his properties and wealth in his possession, eventually had been reduced to the status of sovereign with dominion over only a patch of territory about the size of the diameter of the round plum fruit. In the earlier part of his life, King Asoka was extolled as an extremely powerful monarch with sovereignty over the entire length and breadth of India, Jabudvipa. He had accumulated riches and properties to such an extent that he offered in donation 960 millions in a single day. However, eventually, in the last days before his death, his health had deteriorated. It seemed that his ministers, generals, and other officers appeared to treat him with poor respect. These facts were mentioned in what is called the text of Dipyavadana, a fairly comprehensive account of it is described in the version of Visuddhimagga. Now I would have to give you only a brief account of it. At the time when the great King Asoka was on his sick bed, he was served with food put in a tray made of pure gold as usual. After taking his meals, King Asoka donated the gold trays, plates, and cups to the Kokutarama monastery. Later, he was served with silver plates. These silverwares were also sent to the Kokutarama monastery to be given away in charity. These offerings or gifts were stated to have been made to fulfill his main objective, to reach the value of his dana, charity, up to the total of uh, 100 one uh, 100 crores as the total value of gifts was then short of 4 crores, that is only 96 crores. Thereafter, his state ministers were said to have served the food and meats for their king with only earthen pots. Thereupon the king Asoka was alarmed, since only half the plum fruits which were presented to him had reached his hands. So he ordered that a meeting of state ministers and courtiers be convened. At the convention, King Asoka asked, "Who is ruling this country?" The chief minister replied, "Your Majesty is the sovereign who governs this country." Then King Asoka remarked, "What the chief minister has said falls short of the truth now. Presently, I own and govern only half of the white plum fruit." And proceeded to tell his chief minister that all kinds of accomplishment only end in utter destruction. As preached by the Buddha is perfectly true. So reference can be found in Visuddhimagga. So the statement that beings have no personal property of their own, and when death occurs, everything we have to be abandoned, is really true and accurate. All that have been considered as one's own possession with great attachment had to be abandoned at the time when death ceases. Even our corporeal body with all clothes which is dressed up, we invariably have to be abandoned. So in this regards, in the Anatta Sutta, Buddha mentioned the nature of material body. All our possession, our own body have to be abandoned. So in that Anatta Sutta, Buddha asked the 5 bhikkhus about rupa. Buddha asks that rupa, which is impermanent, suffering, unsatisfactory, and subject to change, is it proper to regard it as this is mine, this is me, this is myself? And the five bhikkhus answer, Pandey, it is not proper to regard the material body as this is mine, this is me, this is myself. The practitioner or the bhikkhus should get rid of tanha, mana, and ditthi, craving, conceit, and wrong views regarding the material body. There are three forms of grasping. This is mine is clinging with craving. This is me is clinging with conceit, and this is myself is clinging with wrong view. When one has taken delight in an object with craving, even if the object does not belong to oneself, it is grasped with craving as if it is one's own. Thus, going into the market, seeing delightful objects, one takes delight in them as if one already owns them. Jacket, trouser, he put them on in imagination. The shoes too, he wear them in imagination as if they were his own already. He grabs everything animate or inanimate as if his own if he fancied them. So Buddha asked whether it was wise to grasp and take delight as this is mine in things that are impermanent, suffering and subject to change, meaning whether it is proper to delight in terrible things, terrible suffering. The material body, the rupa in us are constantly originating and dissolving. If yogis see this phenomena of arising and dissolution as it really is, he would be frightened, just like having to live in the very old building. Even though feeling well and all right at the present moment, a change for the worse may take place depending on condition and circumstances. Once it is realized that it is not enduring even for a moment, always changing, and so terrible suffering, how could he take delight in it? Would anyone choose with great pleasure as one's life partner someone who is going to become a patient within hours or days, or who is going to die very soon? No one would take delight in such course of action if he really knows what is about to happen. In the same way, the yogis who see the unceasing process of origination and dissolution of the five aggregates finds only terrible suffering in them. Finding them as such, a yogi has no desire to grasp his material body as this is mine. The five bhikkhus therefore answer that it is not proper to regard the material body as this is mine. Another clinging is clinging with conceit regarding material body. To consider this material body as this is me is to cling to it with conceit. When one has good eyes, good ears, etc., and can see and hear very well, one begins to take pride in them. I have good eyes, I have good ears, I look beautiful, I have a pleasant voice, I very well, I'm strong. Is it proper to cling to material body in this manner with conceit? Conceit is developed with regard to one's possession when there is misconception that they are enduring and permanent. The material qualities of eyes, ears, visible forms are wrongly held to be permanent, and consequently vanity is built around them. Take for an instance the case of a person who has a cache of wealth, gold, silver, etc., hidden in a certain place. The owner is full of pride over his wealth. I have a lot of gold, silver, etc. And one day, the thief, the robbers, took all his gold and silver. And when the owners know that his cash has been robbed or stolen, he no longer owns any rich properties. The bubble of his conceit gets busted. In the same way, clinging to the material qualities of our eyes, ears, etc., which become manifest at the moment of seeing, hearing, etc., and thinking they are stay in its existence. Conceit is developed over them. For the yogis, who is always taking note of every phenomena occurring at the six senses, he or she knows that they all vanish after they have been they have arisen and finds no excuse to show pride, as I have good eyes, I am beautiful, etc. So when the bhikkhus, the monks were asked, is it proper to regard the material body as this is me? Their reply was, no hi tambandi, the Blessed One, it is not proper. And another clinging is clinging with wrong view. Holding on to the belief this is myself is clinging with wrong view. The wrong view is held fast when there is belief that the rupa, the material body, is one's person is everlasting and amenable to one's control. When yogi's knowledge arises, this material body is unstable, rising and vanishing all the time, and suffering because it is unenduring and subject to change. There is no more ground to cling to material body as self, as a living entity. When yogis knows that material body cannot be controlled, let everything be pleasant, let everything be good, let nothing unpleasant, let all good material body remain permanent. There is nothing for him to cling to as self, atta. So to the question, is it fitting to regard the material body as this is myself? The 5 monks, 5 bhikkhus replied, no hi tambande, no the Blessed One. With this question, Buddha made it clear that when it is not known that it is changing every instant, rupa or material body is to be clung to as self. When it is known thus, there is no more clinging. So according to this question, changeableness at every instant should also be taken as characteristics, mark of non-self. So we need to understand all that have been considered as our own possession with great attachment had to be abandoned at the time when death ceased. Even the corporeal body with all clothes which is dressed up have to be abandoned. Having seen all beings in this pitiable plight, feelings of compassion had arisen in the Buddha. So we have to devote our mind to such beings, and we have to develop Karuṇā, compassion. Beings seeking worldly possession as their own and keeping all these in their personal custody. Though not actually belong to them, are in misery both in body and mind, and therefore are pitiable. So all beings may be liberated from such misery. So the motto covered referring to the state of condition as there is no personal private property. All things have got to be abandoned eventually. And then Buddha surveyed the world, and Buddha saw beings who no longer addict Thuzana daso. All beings are slaves to Dana. The gist of this Pali phrase is that beings are not fully furnished or provided with everything. There's no contentment or satisfaction with what they possess. It is also perfectly true and correct. One may try to possess things which they are originally lacking, imagining at first that he will remain contented with what is available, sufficient enough for his present needs to live on. However, when things are obtained, they may still crave for more. One who is earning 100, we hope to get 200. And one who gets 200 may desire to receive 300 and so on. His thirst for getting more and more cannot be quenched. That is the reason why rich people at the present days are worrying and making their efforts to get richer and richer. Why does seeking wealth with their insatiable desire of greed, they have to die without contentment? For example, any amount of rain, water, and waters from rivers and rivulets may flow into the vast expanse of the ocean, and yet the mighty ocean never gets flooded. Another instance may be cited: any amount of inflammable material may be poured into a burning heap of fire, and yet it will be consumed in no time. Every time inflammable material is put in, fire swallows and burns all the more. Similarly, beings are never satiated. This greed and discontentment is caused by the influence of tanha, craving. As impulsed by tanha, craving, beings go on striving to earn for their living. Accordingly, they have become slaves to tanha. Buddha, seeing these beings who are ridden with tanha and are toiling for their livelihood, had great pity on them. It is just like a laborious servant sweating in misery through fear to perform attacks as ordered by his evil master. The evil master asks him, do this, do that, non-stop he have to do until he die. So it is a pitiable sight as seen by a person who has sympathy towards other fellow beings. The motto composed for the purpose may now be recited. Unfulfilled desires are unsatisfying. All beings are slaves to tanha. All beings become slaves to cravings. Beings who are not yet free from tanha craving have become slaves and have to be doing things as dictated by tanha. Ordinary worldlings are compelled to do the acts of killing if ordered to do so by tanha. They are compelled to do the acts of daily life if ordered to do so by tanha. Those who think they will prosper by resorting to killing are committing this heinous crime as prompted by tanha. During the time of the Buddha, King Ajatasattu of Magadha assassinated his father Bimbisara, who was Sotapanna, because he was incited by tanha, which craved for the kingly pleasure of life. All those worldlings not yet liberated from tanha for having committed the five evil crimes that bring with them immediate retribution are now suffering great misery in hell. However, as Sotapanna is free from tanha that can drag him down to four woeful states. Sotapanna will not go to woeful states because he is free from tanha that can drag him down to apaya. So he will abstain from committing vices such as killing, stealing, which can cause him to land in the woeful states. Nevertheless, for not being free from kamatana, passionate attachment, he stays in trouble seeking for sensual pleasures as stimulated or urged by tanha. And Sakadagami, once returner, is also stay doing things as provoked by the subtle form of Kamatana. Even an Anagami, though he has got rid of Kamatana, has to do things as forcefully urged by Rupatana and Arupatana. However, he has no misery physically and mentally because of that Tana. He has only Sankhara Dukkha. As for an Arahant, having totally eradicated all kinds of craving, all kinds of Tana, he has been fully emancipated from the slavish bonds of Tana, craving. So compassion which has arisen in Buddha was simply because he found and realized that ordinary worldlings, Pudujana and Sikha individuals who, for not having been free from craving, are undergoing great misery as slaves of the Tana, craving. Among them, the most pitiable are the ordinary worldlings, taking cue from the manner in which Buddha has nurtured compassion. We have to develop Karuṇā, compassion. So we have to develop Karuṇā, compassion in this way. May all beings who are in misery and are discontented for not being able to fulfill their desires, thereby becoming slaves to Tanha. May they be free from slavish condition caused by Tanha. May they be liberated from misery. All beings in the whole world and in all universes, including planets and infinite space, as well as all beings in this country, are undergoing all kinds of misery. They are in reality physically and mentally distressed. They are also in misery and are becoming wearisome through constant toil in pursuit of what they wish to earn and possess. So for their demeritorious actions, there is danger of descending to the four woeful states. Miseries are lying in wait for the inevitable aging, sickness and death that will take hold of them. So we should develop compassion with our noble intention, wishing them escape from all such kinds of misery. And we should contemplate and note every time we recite with mindfulness. So we have to develop in this way. May all beings in this country be liberated from misery. May all beings in the whole world be liberated from misery. May all beings in this universe, be liberated from misery. May all beings in all unlimited universes be liberated from misery. So in the Mahabharata, it mentioned one stanza that is dukkha pattajani dukkha, bhaya pattajani bhaya, soka pattajani soka, hontu sabbe vipanino. That means may all suffering beings be free from suffering, may all fear struck being be free from fear, may all grief-stricken beings be free from grief. So we have to do compassion. Rudy, follow me. May all those individuals in distress be liberated from misery. May all those individuals who are meeting with danger be liberated from danger. May all those individuals who are in anxiety be liberated from all anxieties. So we wish to mention something about the manner of developing compassion in connection with the occurrence of Karuṇā Samapatti knowledge, which is self-appreciated after being known and realized. So next week we will continue compassion. So we have to stop our discourse for today. By virtue of having successfully learned and borne in mind this Karuṇā Bhāvanā with Dhamma Savana Kusala Karma, those practitioners who have just listened to the sermon to be able to practice and develop compassion to the best of your ability, and to further develop and practice vipassana meditation through contemplation and noting the arising phenomena of psychophysical process, and finally attain the noble nibbana, the state of cessation of all miseries and eternal bliss, with your much cherished Meghañana and Phalāñana as speedily as possible. May you all be liberated from suffering. Sadhu. So we have to practice meditation for